Have you ever heard of the term knowledge is power? Hello everybody and welcome to SA Sociology Hub. My name is Thandeka Sivanyoni, and if you are new here, welcome. If you're part of the Hub Collective, welcome back. In today's video, we are diving into some of the thought-provoking ideas that might seem a bit academic, but I want you to trust me, right? They are very relevant to our everyday lives in South Africa, especially. And we're going to look at one of the French philosophers by the name of Michael Foucault and his ideas on power, control, and society. And we will also try and find ways to better understand some of the challenges that we face. But most importantly, I would like for us to look at how we are producing power and control through in our everyday lives, through our interactions as human beings, people of different races, different ages, and how we are always navigating power and control. I hope you enjoy. Okay, let's get to it. Michael Foucault was a French philosopher, as I've mentioned, who spent a lot of time thinking about how power works in society. For example, how it controls us and how it shapes our lives, even in ways that we don't always notice. So a lot of people tend to think of power as this thing that is only held by certain people or by certain organizations or by, we never think of ourselves and think that we're powerful, right? Have you ever felt like you're being judged or controlled or even watched by society? So yeah, Foucault would say that this is all part of the system of power that exists. This is all part of the system of power that exists in every society, right? And most of the time we speak about power or this is how society or the system has been structured. But who structures this system, and how do we perpetuate, recreate, or even challenge this system? Foucault believed that power isn't just something that is from the government or certain people in our society, the way we think about it, right? And a lot of times, a lot of things that we think are normal are things that other people have tried to put in place so that they could be in positions of power. And so you're seeing with revolting or with strikes and protests, a lot of people tend to think of these as being rebellious, or they see it as rebellion. However, it is not rebellion more than it is someone trying to bargain for their power or to be in position to exercise their own power. Here in South Africa, Foucault's ideas about power can be seen everywhere, from the way our past of apartheid still affects the present today, or how people are treated in public spaces. For example, how blacks are treated to whites, how women are treated to men in society, or how the media shapes people's perceptions or just the perceptions of crime, of race, or success, right? Foucault would argue that all of these things are ways that power operates, right? Think about it. Why do we have certain ideas about success? Or why some communities have access to better resources than others? This shows Foucault's argument that these are not just coincidences. They are a result of the way power has shaped our systems for generations. So power is not something that is, I would argue, power is not something that is just with certain people or certain groups or certain institutions. Every power is created. Everyone has power. Power is created by everyone. So as we interact with each other, we are producing, we are creating or recreating or exercising our power, right? And what you see in our world today is people fighting against certain institutions or certain systems that oppress or do not give room for people to exercise their own power. And that's why you're seeing a change in society. And those that have been benefiting from the way the system of power has been structured feel like this is not how it's supposed to be, or these people are revolting, or they are just fighting against this is not how things should be, because they are taught about what is normal. And sometimes what is normal is not beneficial to anyone, right? And so what people are fighting for is having room to be able to exercise their own power and say no when they don't want to be touched in a way that does not that feels invasive to them. For example, some men, because they benefit from patriarchy, they will not see this as something that is needed or that is fair, because they are beneficiaries of the system. Have you ever heard of the term knowledge is power? So Foucault believed that power and knowledge are intertwined. You cannot have power without the correct knowledge. And so that's why it is very important to make sure that we have knowledge so that we can better understand our power. And this is not just about school or focusing on a trade, right? It's about making sure that we know how the world works, how society is structured, and whether or not it benefits everyone. And if we know how society is shaped, we will be able to make better decisions. We will be able to make better, if you know about, for example, setting a budget, you will know whether or not what you would need to do in order to make sure that your finances are in a better state. So knowledge is power. Knowledge and power are intertwined. So what can we take from Foucault's ideas today? First, we should be aware that power isn't just about government or big corporations or a certain race or a certain gender. It's in small everyday things. As we're navigating life, we are exercising our power. We're constantly choosing to exercise or not exercise our power, right? And the way we treat each other, the way we make assumptions about certain things, and the structures that keep us in place. So if we can see how power works in our own lives, for example, how we interact in our families, how we interact with our friends or with our colleagues, we can challenge the systems that hold us back and push for a more equal and just society. And so how does that work? You don't just wait for a protest, you speak up. If something does not feel like it is beneficial to you, or it makes you not be able to exercise your power, speak more, speak up. It's not going to happen overnight, but the more we understand the power dynamics, the more we can work together to change them. If you found this video interesting, please do make sure to hit the like button, to subscribe, and to share it with someone who might find this helpful. And let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on Foucault's ideas of power. Do you see power playing out in everyday life, especially in South Africa? I'd like to hear from you. Okay, until next time, stay informed and keep questioning the world around you. Bye.